Looks like the West was decided, right? Looks like the West was just decided.
That was how the West was won. Yeah, it's Dwayne Eskridge, dude. They don't. That's how it was won. Just him.
We kind of had a hunch that Western was going to put up a lot of points. I didn't think that Central was going to keep up with them as much. All things considered, too, like they weren't given the best hand entering the game. But Western dominated 52 to 42 or 52 to
52-44.
Lots of big plays from Western. Obviously, Eskridge, he had a huge night, 4 catches, 3 of them were touchdowns for he had like an 85-yarder, a 70-yarder. He would have had like a 120-yarder if the field was long enough.
Beat Central, beat the defending MAC West champs without Sky Moore, who was a late scratch, didn't practice this week, though, as far as I understand it. And then Ali Fayyad did not play, so they're missing him on defense, which really didn't affect them. I mean, it did. I mean, I'm looking at this game where Western shut Central down for essentially 5 or 6 consecutive possessions, and still it was still a close game in the end because Western kind of went conservative and started running the ball, which is fine. You're up a couple touchdowns. At one point in this game, Central was up 14-0, and I told Alex this, and you all might not believe me. That's okay. Part of me went, this isn't actually that good for Central because if they get in a shutout or if they get into a shootout with Western, it favors Western. And that it did shake out that way. And I kind of thought all along it was going to be something of a shootout. I don't know that I thought Central would score 44 points, but.
Yeah, I mean, Central, they just started out quick. They lucked into 14 quick points, which is much needed in this game. You know, you say that, you know, maybe in a shootout situation, Central can't hold up, but being up 14 points early, who cares whether you're in a shootout situation or not? I mean, if you feel like your offense can't hold up with Western like that, then you can just go conservative. But still, Central, they just didn't score enough points. I just don't get it. Like, they rushed the ball really well. Khalil Pimpleton, I said that, you know, he should get cooking, and he got cooking. He had, 3 touchdowns on the ground. He let his speed shot.
Yeah.
Let his speed
gave him the ball.
show.
Crazy what happened.
And it looked like Daniel Richardson was hurt too, right? Like, it looked like he was battling like a hand injury too, which I'm sure affected him. He didn't throw the ball as much as he had in previous games. We had 41 attempts against Ohio, and against Western he had 19.
Yeah, and they're not necessarily even knowing as good as guys like Pimpleton and Sullivan can be, you still don't want to throw the ball 40 times with any consistency if you're Central, knowing what you have up front and knowing where you've had success in the past. Just looking at the drive charts, if you go back to the second quarter, so you've got Central 4 plays, 3 yards, punt. You've got 3 and out. You've got another 3 and out, 3 yards, punt. Lasted 30 seconds. So they're just taking no time off the clock. Richardson's throwing a few incompletions, and they're just not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And it was like that for a good portion of the second quarter. And then, I mean, really, they had those 14 points in the first 5 minutes of the game or so. So Western went on a 38-0 run.
Yeah,
and still only won by 8 points.
But it didn't feel like it was decided by 8 points. You know, like the final score wasn't as close as what the game really was. Like the game was really that 38-point run. That was really the game.
Obviously, having the big plays that they did. I mean, only 12 completions for Caleb Ellaby and 382 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. It just felt like they just kept punching Central just over and over and over and waylaying them. It was just like a video game being disrespectful to a guy you shot in Call of Duty, and you're like, you know, doing inappropriate things or whatever. It was just like that for a while.
Do you even play video games?
I mean, that's why I hardly do. And yeah, so sorry guys, I don't have any fun gaming stories. But
celebrate good times. I will.
Western should be celebrating good times because they should be ranked.
Western should be ranked. I mean, Buffalo got an AP vote from a Dayton writer. I don't remember the guy's name. It was a Dayton-based area AP voter. Everyone that is employed to write about college football that has a vote hopefully they were watching this rivalry game. Hopefully they weren't watching the NBA draft. But if you were, whatever. But hopefully you catch up with this game and just go, as long as that Eskridge guy is healthy, this is a ranked team. This is one of the 25 best teams in America.
And if they could just have it together and score,
I have no
40
stats
plus
to back
points.
that up. I have no stats to back that up, by the way.
Look, here's where we're gonna go. Here's where I'm gonna go with that. They've scored in their games in succession 58 points, 41 points, 52 points. If they're going to look like that in every MAC game, go undefeated through MAC play, screw what the rest of the resume even looks like. Rank them.
Who do you want to see Western play? Should Western ride this thing out? Get it, ride. Get it, because it's a roller coaster of a season. If Western rides this thing out into a perfect season the rest of the way and winds up in the MAC championship game, who at this point do you want them to play against more, Buffalo or Kent State?
Oh, that's okay. That's a hard question. The idea of their offenses going together makes Kent State a potentially really sexy pick there, but also the potential for the Buffalo defense versus Westerns kind of gives it, I think, more of a chance to go just kind of back and forth, big defensive play followed by big special teams play followed by et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Western versus Kent's more of a offensive slugfest. So I guess it's kind of what type of football you'd be more likely to want. But I could just as easily see it being in the 50s, even if Western plays Buffalo. I think I'd rather see Buffalo, though. I think I'd rather see Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I think if you wanted to watch Ellaby and Crum just go at it for a whole night, no one would blame you there.
I don't know. I feel like no matter what, if I just show up to the MAC championship game and I say, okay, what do we got? And it's like, it's the chef's special. You're getting Dustin Crum and Buffalo's defense. Oh, yes!
Sound like your best Vince McMahon impression.
Follow-up question. How much do you trust Tim Lester now, knowing that he is 3-1 against Central Michigan?
I mean, Western's won, 6 of the last 7 against Central, I believe? And I mean, dating back to early PJ, they've continued to have success against Central, even in years where Central's had a decent team. So
since 2011, they've lost twice. Western has.
Okay.
They lost in 2013, 27-22, and 2017, 35-28. Both of those were in Kalamazoo, by the way.
Okay. Central loves to play spoilers so dang much. They've done it for years now. It's infuriating.
But I digress. That's to say that fans at Kelly Shorts have not seen a rivalry win at their home stadium all decade.
Damn.
But Caleb, individually, who kind of stood out in this Central Western matchup of 2020? Obviously, Eskridge had the 4 catches for 212 yards, three scores. We said him. And Sky Moore was out of the lineup, so who kind of filled in for him?
Well, so Jaylen Hall got going on the long ball as well, made a couple really impressive catches tonight. I know Alex pointed that out to me. Outside of that, I mean, they really didn't have to hit anybody for more than a few catches. Like I'm looking right now, Hall had 4 catches for 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Corey Crooms had a couple balls hauled in, including a 28-yard catch. I mean, but really just the balance of Jefferson and Tyler was just what kept them kind of going to them having the ability to just keep jugging along. Jefferson is now kind of the feature back, but Tyler's more likely to gash him. And Jefferson 150 yards rushing on 33 carries. Sean Tyler, 15 carries, 94 yards a touchdown, 6.3 yards a carry. Had the longest run of the game for the Broncos. We did not see Kincaid tonight, and I did not see anything about if there was an injury, if there's a reason for him missing, or even if they just didn't need him tonight. I don't know.
You know what? This is the year where I just stopped giving up on thinking about why anybody missed a game.
That's fair. Eastern knows all about that. But as far as Central goes, Alex saw more of the actual game action. Alex, what kind of impressed you about how Central battled back offensively, given that Richardson was battling some injuries?
Well, they did kind of switch things up a little bit. They did more of the Wildcat package. I don't know if they did more or less of it compared to the NIU and Ohio games. Didn't really pay too close of attention to those in real time, but they did switch things up and let Like I said, Pimpleton, they let him show off his speed a little bit more, and he did. He ripped off some really long runs. He had 3 touchdown runs. The wide receiver did for 108 yards. Didn't lead the team. Kobe Lewis, he had 114 yards for the Chips, had 2 scores there with a long of 69. Had to get that in.
Nice.
What did I say last episode? Let Khalil Pimpleton cook.
I mean, at some point, somebody told Channing Frye, like, dude, we just gotta snap it to him.
You gotta subscribe. You gotta subscribe to Mac Football Forever.
You just gotta snap it to him. That's what you gotta do.
This is the year where, and it's always important to be speedy and fast. It's always important. But this year, more than anything, it just feels like if you're an offensive skilled player, you better be 1, incredibly fast, or 2, incredibly strong. Though, like, those are always important in any year. But this year, more than anything, when defenses seem like a little bit more flimsy, no matter how talented all these guys are, more comparative to the other years, tackling's not easy in 2020 for whatever reason.
Yeah, Eastern proves that.
And so when guys like Khalil Pimpleton is just like burning through guys, Eskridge is just,
running by everyone.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like defenses have to play 5-on-1 just to slow him down. And it's just impossible to do that.
I mean, like looking at a game like tonight where Ellaby's just slinging it around the field, almost throws for 400 yards with only completed 12 passes. He's always going to have big plays unless – I mean, I think you're going to get lucky. The nights where Western is not going to, say, not complete several 30-yard passes or 40-yard passes, you're just lucky, probably because there's some drops or you just figured out the perfect coverage scheme. Central, I don't really expect Central to put together a bunch of big plays. I mean, they're capable, but Richardson's not quite there yet. He's banged up. Pimpleton has not been the guy that I don't even think it's his fault. I think it's what they have in terms of
they're just missing some pieces, and Tony Poljan, you gotta recognize that he's not here anymore. Like he was such an awesome target for them to have.
But you're at the end of the night, yes, you got the ball in Pimpleton's hands, but to only have 4 combined catches between Pimpleton and Sullivan really isn't that acceptable in my mind.
That's fair.
And I think even knowing that if I'm Central, I don't want to throw the ball a ton. The fact that you
still got to do it. I mean,
you still got to do it more.
It's football in 2020.
Yeah,
you still have to do it.
So Central comes out of the gates hot, and then I don't know what to think about after that because Western was just a terror for a good about 18 minutes of game clock. They looked like the undisputed best team in the MAC, but I think Buffalo's going to have a little something to say about that. But who knows? Could go a lot of directions.
Let's end on this. Is Eskridge your favorite to win the MAC Offensive Player of the Year right now?
I'm going to go with no, but only because I think Jarrett Patterson's stats are going to be too eye-popping at the end of the year.
No. We're only going with right now.
Well, I'm not choosing a halfway point MAC unless you're asking me who is the halfway point MAC Offensive Player of the Year.
Hey, you might have to pick.
Okay, if that's the case, I'm still picking Jarrett Patterson.